Metal gatherings. This is Liv from the band Liv Sin and the band Sistersin. And I hope you all will check in my interview. Don't miss it and stay metal.
We have a very special guest from Sweden, and from iconic metal band Sistersin and Liv Sin. Liv.
Hello, nice to be here.
How are you doing?
I'm doing fine. I'm doing good. It's 10 o'clock here, so it's a little bit dark, but I think that I got okay lights anyway, so yeah.
Yeah, we see like your red hair and so on, so everything from that side. So from those who don't know you, don't know Sistersin, Liv Sin, or you. So can you describe in just one sentence yourself or your music?
Pretty straightforward. Well, a Sistersin at least. Pretty straightforward rock and roll kind of metal. And Liv Sin, pretty straightforward heavy metal, I would say. And I guess since I'm the lead singer of the both bands, that I am that too then. Long sentence, but yeah. Straightforward. Heavy rock and heavy metal.
Yeah, I would say also as well old school, right? Old school metal.
Good stuff. So Liv, how are you in this, these days with this COVID situation? How affect your plans?
I mean, obviously I was supposed to do a reunion with the Sistersin just for the summer. We were supposed to do a festival reunion since it was 5 years. 5 years ago since we stopped playing, or we quit the band. The band quit. So the idea was to have this summer and do a lot of festival and just have fun together. And that obviously didn't happen. So everything is postponed to next year, so we hope that we can have our 6 years anniversary then instead next year. I mean, let's hope so, because we don't know anything. No one knows if how long this will take, obviously. So, but we all hope that we can go up, that concerts will start again pretty soon, and at least to next year. And that so then the idea is to do the summer reunion or summer festivals with the Sistersin next year. And obviously that was kind of a downer, because we started to rehearse and we had everything planned and we had the festivals coming up, and then like, okay, nothing. And that, I mean, that changed the whole my whole summer. And obviously a lot of people's summer will change, or did change because of this. Pretty much everyone's, I think. And but for Liv Sin, since we didn't have anything booked, fortunately we didn't have anything booked, because I was doing this thing with Sistersin, and then I was going back to Liv Sin this fall and starting new music, etc. So fortunately for Liv Sin, we didn't have anything booked, so we have not lost anything. But obviously we don't have anything coming up right now either, but we are already starting making new music instead. You have to take care of the opportunity here to at least start to make new music. So instead of just sitting and waiting, we are taking all this time to write new music. And maybe that will actually mean that Liv Sin will release new music sooner than we would have if Corona or COVID didn't happen. So I try to think that with everything that feels not very good, and that, I mean, ruin your plans, there's something good in it too. So right now with Liv Sin, we are in a pretty good writing mood, which is awesome when you like feel the rush of energy of writing new material. And so I'm happy for that, but I'm also a bit frustrated of not knowing when to be able to hit the stage again.
So Liv Sin will be sounding very frustrating and heavy when the new material comes out.
Probably, yes.
We'll talk about feelings and so on, what you're feeling about the situation and so on, but let's go a little bit like exploring who you are. So first of all, sistersin, what I know, wasn't your first band, and also not Hysterica before.
No.
There was a period you tried to start your own band. And so can you tell us about your first band?
I started my first band when I was 14, and I forced my two best friends to play with me. They didn't listen to. One was listening to rock music, but the other one was not listening to any rock music, and I forced her to play bass. I was playing guitar, and then I had my other friend playing drums, and we were called Sisters of Kali, because I was very into the god Kali, the Indian god Kali. So, and we played really, I mean, we were 14, so we were not that very good musicians. So I was playing pretty slow but heavy riffs, because that was all I could do. And I was singing also. Actually, I was playing some flute too in that. So it was a little bit weird, I think. Guitar, singing, and flute. But yeah, so we played for 2 or 3 years, I think, before we kind of just dissolved. I was moving somewhere to work more on music, and they were doing other stuff. But it was fun, and it was like the first experience of music, just like 3 girls that didn't know so much about anything with music, just trying to rock. We were all like dark. I mean, we had all like black, always black clothes, and like really dark makeup, looking like some kind of black metal band.
Yeah, so it was an all-female black thing.
Yeah.
And you, so you played the flute and guitar?
Yeah.
And you're doing it nowadays, or?
No, it was a long time since I played the flute, actually. I started to work more on my guitar when I was in, what is it that, it's not high school. I get always confused in which to say. Gymnasium, we say here in Sweden. But when you are like 15 to 18 or 16 to 19, yeah, that I was going to a music school. Actually, we have like a special school for music, and I was starting on flute, but then I go over to play guitar instead, and then I kind of put away the flute because I wanted to play heavy music and not so much playing the flute.
I can't imagine a very aggressive like flute somewhere in Sistersin or Liv Sin.
Yeah,
weird.
It would have been fun. I mean, I love the band Jethro, which have an amazing flute player. And that is rock with flute. But well, I never developed that very much. So I just started playing the guitar, and then I realized that I was not a very good guitar player either. So I started to sing instead, and then I left the guitar too. But I can play chords and some riffs still, but I'm not like this a super guitar player.
Cool. And
while Nick is reconnecting.
Oh, hi. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm gonna take Nick's place for a moment. He's trying to reconnect. So,
I want to.
I'll ask his question. Is that okay?
Yeah, yes. But can I finish my question?
No problem.
I wasn't, and now I forgot what I wanted to ask. See? So, yeah, so rounding up. So how long did you play the Sister of Kali? And how did you end up then in Sistersin in the end with guys?
I think that Sisters of Kali played for 2 years or something, and then I went forward. After the gymnasium, I went to another music school for a year, and then I had no band. I had but we played music all the day there, so I didn't need a band. And after that, I moved to Gothenburg, where I put an ad in a paper, which seems long ago today, but I did put an ad in a paper, in a music paper in Sweden, looking for a band. And then the former guitar player of Sister Sin called me and said that they were a band and they were auditioning, but they were looking for a male singer, but he really wanted to have a female singer. So he wanted me to try, because I think I sent him some tapes or something. He wanted me to try out, at least to come to audition.
20 years ago, right? That's
yeah, I think that was like 2002, something like that. So almost 20 years ago. Or 2003, yeah, around that, when I was living in Gothenburg. So that's how I started. I went to that audition, and then they just told me that if I wanted to be their singer, they hired me on the spot, even though they wanted a male in the first place.
Wow.
Or first, yeah. So that was pretty cool, I think.
Yeah.
Pretty cool.
So
yeah, go ahead, Veronica.
Okay, thank you. So what music artists were an influence for you at the beginning?
Mostly, first of all, it was like 2 or 3 bands when I started out. It was Pantera, because of the guitars, because I wanted to be a guitar player, first of all. So Pantera and Dimebag. And then when I started to, excuse me, more went into singing, it was more, Sebastian Bach from Skid Row, because I loved his way of singing the high notes. And yeah, he had a really great voice. He could do, like, I think that I really liked that he could like do those high screams, and which also brought me to Rob Halford, obviously, and Judas Priest. And I was very into Rob Halford's solo album, the Resurrection album. I got very inspired of that, because I was thinking I wanted to be like the female version of Rob Halford. So I would say that those are my and I can't forget that there was a band when I was 15. There was a band called Drain Stockholm, which was just females. They were all girls, and they play really heavy metal. And that them for me was like, I look up to them because I also wanted to be playing heavy metal. So I have to say them too. I have to name that name also, Drain Stockholm. But I think they only did 2 or 3 albums, so not so much. And then in later years, also Dee Snider, for being one of, I mean, I've always loved Twisted Sister, but he for me is the best front figure that you can see on stage, because he's a really entertainer. He entertains the audience. He just communicates with them, and he has like this natural way of just getting people to get into the music. So yeah, I have to say him too.
Yeah, he's very vocal on stage. It's like very interesting to watch the band.
Yeah, definitely.
I've seen their last gig in I think it was in Wacken. Yeah, they were great, cool. Amazing.
Yeah,
I never seen like Twisted Sister, but it's on my bucket list. It's the only glam metal band that I'm listening, because it's so good. Like Dee Snider, it's amazing, and his solo album now.
It's very good. I love his solo album. Yes, it's great.
Yeah, some songs are like whoa.
Yeah, I think it's really good.
Yeah, exactly. I'm aiming to get it, because when I heard it was from another planet, it was so good.
Yeah.
Back to you. So you were the singer in Hysterica and you were the singer in Hysterica and Sister Sin at the same time, and eventually you chose Sister Sin due to lack of time, if I read it correctly, and you are working as well full time. So I'm wondering now, how is it going to work with Liv Sin and Sister Sin now?
Well, actually, when I had Hysterica was in Stockholm, and I was living I am still living in Stockholm, and I had Hysterica in Stockholm, and I had Sister Sin in Gothenburg. And then the actual reason was that I got a problem with my vocal cords. So I was not allowed to sing for a whole year, and I was on heavy medication. And I didn't want to let 2 bands wait for me. because I didn't know if I was ever going to be really, really good again. So I chose one band and let the other band go. And then I chose sistersin because it was a little bit closer to more closer to my heart. I actually started with sistersin before Hysterica. So I chose sistersin because they were already my brothers. They were like my family. And with Hysterica, we had a lot of fun. And they were in Stockholm, so it was very convenient, and we had so much fun, just girls. But I just felt that sistersin was the band that I was supposed to be in if I would survive if my vocal course would survive, which they did, but it took over a year. So that's why I decided to just let one band wait, and that band wanted to wait, so that was good too.
Yeah, for me, it's like sistersin. For me, like I've heard a little bit of Hysterica, but sistersin is like from another level. For me, it's like.
Yeah, I mean, I love Hysterica. They are still around, not very much, but they are still doing music, and they are still my friends. And we had much fun doing it. But I think that I'm closer to the sistersin family and the sistersin music. So yeah. And sorry.
I would say that the lyrics from sistersin is a little bit more aggressive, I would say, than
definitely. But for now, I mean, sistersin is just a reunion for the summer, which was supposed to be this summer, but it's going to be next summer. So unfortunately, there is no plan for new music, which make it easy for me to continue with livsin.
So if I understand it correctly, so you would see each other in summer, but it's not going to be touring countries.
No. The rest of the guys in sistersin, they have their families and their job, and they're really happy about that, and they really like their way. They're not very interested in touring all over again, but they felt that they really want to do this reunion and just have some fun and play some festival and just bring back that feeling that we actually have together.
So in short, like livsin will be building the legacy, or you'll be continuing the legacy of sistersin with livsin in the future.
Yes, that is my plan. I mean, then we'll see. I mean, if you never know with anything, maybe they would change their mind. I don't know. But even if we would continue with sistersin on some level, even after that summer, I would still want to do livsin too, because that is my music, is my lyrics and my writing. So
I'm looking forward to all the new material that livsin is going to produce and so on. It's amazing for so far and so on. We'll talk about it in another. We'll develop it further in further questions.
Yes. I can get my cat to speak instead, right? Would you? No.
Beautiful cat.
Very nice. He looks so relaxed.
Yes.
Is it he or she?
It's a she. Yes.
What's the name?
Sharma.
Shawarma?
Sharma, yes.
Sharma. It's like the word charm. I hope it's from shawarma.
The Sharma, it's from one of my favorite authors. His name is Robin Sharma, and he has written a book called The Monk Who Sold His Ferrari, which is a really, really good book. So that's why her name is Sharma, is after that author. Yeah.
So let's get back to sin. Actually, sin is your trademark. Can you tell us a bit how that started?
For obvious reason, it started with sistersin. Sistersin, it's not. I don't remember if it's the name sistersin comes from a song. A song from a Swedish kind of punk rock, glam rock band long ago, the 80s, called Shotgun Messiah. Or wait, was it really, or was it the other band he had? Never mind. But at least it was the drummer from Sister Sin, Dave, who came up with the name Sister Sin. And I think he already had the band when I joined it. So the trademark of Sin is not kind of my idea, but since we used it with Sister Sin, I started to just use that in my own, with my own name too, and then with Liv Sin to have like that connection with Sister Sin. So it's more like because of the band name Sister Sin that I still use the kind of Sin name. So it just got stuck on me somehow.
So you have been making so much noise, and since 2000, and then suddenly it all stopped in 2015. So how was it when it all suddenly ended, and how did you find strength not to quit, but to stand up and continue and go beyond what Sister Sin ever was? A long question.
When we stopped in 2015, obviously it was a shock for me and Dave. Obviously didn't want to stop playing, so for us it was a shock when first it was Strand and then Jimmy didn't want to play anymore. But it's not like I don't understand it, because we were touring constantly. We had no money. We slept in the van all the time. Not all the time, we had hotels too, but we always toured in the van, and we were away from friends, family, loved ones, etc. for very, very long. So, and that takes its toll on you. And I totally understand why they didn't have the energy or the will to continue, because we were kind of burning out ourselves with this constantly touring. So I mean, I understand them, and but I was in a shock, and at first, of course, I got a bit bitter, but then I tried to not get too depressed. In the beginning, I fall down and got very, very depressed, because I didn't know who am I if I'm not playing in Sister Sin, because my whole life was Sister Sin, and my whole identity was the lead singer of Sister Sin, and I didn't have any other identity. So I felt really, really lost for a while there. And then I kind of worked through that, and I started to get this idea that just because Sister Sin didn't play anymore, it didn't mean that I was out of the music, and that I could start something, and I could build something that could be my thing from the beginning. So that's what I did, and that was Liv Sin then. So I tried to take care of that opportunity instead of just bury myself in a depression over that. But it's still a bit of a shock, and I can still get very sentimental, and I still miss playing all those tours with Sister Sin, and because I love touring, but I understand that it's not for everyone all the time.
Yeah, for me it was like a shock as well. Like Sister Sin was gone, but like for me you were like the most important member, because you are the lead singer, like you said yourself. You are also the person who was very energetic on the stage, dancing around and so on. And then you came up with Liv Sin. So for me it was like, well, Sister Sin is gone, but you have Liv Sin, so Liv is still there. So I just saw it like, you have Liv is Sister Sin, and then the name changed to Liv, and and there we go, and that's it. And for me it's like, whether it's Liv Sin or sistersin. Like if it's you, then I'm like happy. Like if the music out of the
that's awesome. I know it's a little bit of difference between the music. So obviously I made some sistersin fans disappointed, but I also gained some fans that didn't like sistersin so much because it was a little bit too much rock and roll for them. So I think that I love the music of sistersin, but I also love more heavier music, and I always wanted to go a bit heavier. So that's what I'm trying out now.
I think it's sometimes with people, it's sometimes like if you like, how do you say, develop yourself further, it doesn't like fit with some people. And I think if you stand still, it won't like match some people expectations. So I think over the years, if you just develop further and you go further, you will always gain fans, lose fans.
Exactly.
And the core base is like the true fans will stay there, and the rest will be gone somewhere.
Exactly. You can't make everyone happy.
And what was then the learning lesson, what you took from sistersin to your new band?
To think a little bit, I can't say that I'm very good at this still, but maybe not try to overwork, but I'm still not very good at that. So we'll see. I try to not overwork Liv Sin. I try to not burn out my members, obviously, or myself. But I tend to get very intense into what I am doing. So it's hard to not get back into that. Because I'm the kind of person that if someone brings me 6 months of touring, I would probably say, okay, that sounds great. And not everyone is like that. So I try to understand that, and I try to think of if the things that we are doing with Liv Sin, if it's going to bring us something, or if we are just doing it because we think it's fun, or we have to like look at everything and do it the right way, and not burn ourselves out or use up our finances, for example. So I will try to be a little bit wiser about that. I will try.
It sounds logical. Like if you looked at sistersin, it was touring and touring, like you mentioned.
Yes, but the thing is, I don't see those things so much today. Mm-hmm. That constantly touring that we were doing, obviously no one is touring right now, but even before that, it was like that culture of just touring was not so much of that anymore. It was more like 2 weeks and 3 weeks and maybe 4 weeks, and then back home, and more like those small kind of tour duts or tour spots, not that heavenly month of just touring. So I think the whole environment changed a little bit. So it's not so many of those doing that anymore. Because I had friends, Canadian band, or friends in the States and Canada, who toured in a van for 2 or 3 years non-stop. And I don't think that so many people are doing that anymore. Yes. So I think that has changed a little bit, actually.
Yeah, I saw the turbos, and then you said in the turbos there's the problem of showers, so you have like how do you say, the wipes are important. I was like, what? Wipes for touring?
Yes. Very important.
Next time, so now you have like breaks and so on, so next time you are live, you have more energy on the stage.
Yes, definitely.
Looking forward to it.
Over the top energy.
Good. So, Liv, tell me about the lyrics. Are you writing the lyrics, most of the lyrics, or?
For Liv Sin, I'm writing all of the lyrics, and for with sistersin, it was Dave, the drummer, who wrote the lyrics. But with Liv Sin, I'm writing all of the lyrics.
And what do you want to say through your lyrics to the people? What is the message?
It depends on the song, obviously.
Yes.
But I tend to write about things that matters to me. So it could either be things that I've experienced or my thoughts about life or ways, or it can be something that I think that we need to look at, like how the world is today, that we are, in my opinion, we need to be more open and more humble and more loving towards each other. And I think that it's kind of going the other way. So a lot of my lyrics are a bit political in that way, that I want people to kind of wake up and see what's important in life. It's not money, it's not fame, it's what you use your life to, because you have one life and you have to use it well, because one day it's not there anymore. So it's important to use it in a good way and not in a bad way. That's my opinion, at least. So yeah, so about some things about that, and also obviously things about how I'm myself have experienced, like well, let me see, The Beast Inside from the first album, Follow Me, is a song where I take up mental issue, or even more that when I was younger, I was having problems with eating disorders, and that kind of, for me, was the beast that I could never get rid of. So that's also something that I write about, things that I can feel that I'm not the only one that have experienced, and we all have like a beast inside. It can be different. It can be anxiety, it can be depression, it can be whatever. It can be that you use alcohol, drugs, whatever. But we all have that beast inside that kind of takes over, and it's always going to be there, but you need a way to just kind of ignore it and just move forward.
And so what is your favorite song from lyrical point of view? Do you have any favorite? You have a lot of songs.
Yes. Oh, I don't know. I mean, it's hard because some of the songs I have to choose because I like the music.
Okay.
It's kind of, I have, if you would say right now, if I would choose a sistersin song, it would